Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Cy Huffer and Friends. This is a podcast designed to help you flourish at life and relationships. I'm your host, Cy Huffer. I'm the lead pastor at a church called the Gathering Christian Church in Naples, Florida. And each episode, I get to invite some of my friends on to share with you because I believe I have the best friends in the world and they help me flourish in life and relationships. And I think you hanging out with them will help you flourish as well. And so today I have my friends Lindsay Bright and JD Miller on. Say hey to everybody,
Yes.
Lindsay and JD.
Hey guys, how's it going?
And this is JD. Lindsay's been a repeat guest over the last several months. Thank you, Lindsay, for always making time to do that. You bring the best questions, I think. The ones that make me squirm the most, I think. This is JD. Yeah, this is JD's first. And so, JD, tell everyone a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you do, and how you ended up on this podcast with me.
Man, I am a Midwest farm kid. Well, I say farm kid. It's small city kid, if that makes sense. I am from Kansas, born and raised, and I am...
Rock Chalk, right?
Yeah, Rock Chalk, Jayhawk, a little bit more Arrowhead Chop.
Oh, okay.
Truthfully, Kansas City is what I grew up on. So that
Gotcha.
would be, yeah, the Chiefs are I'm a diehard from when we were terrible. From when
you're not a bandwagon fan.
You
name 3 quarterbacks before Patrick Mahomes.
Do I have to? I mean,
yes.
it was a tough time. I mean, I can. Trent Green obviously was great. Alex Smith was phenomenal. But then, of course, you start getting back into some really bad ones like Elvis Gerbach.
See, there you go.
And I really don't want to do that. So then you can go further back, Joe Montana. Joe Montana couldn't get it done for us. So you got to go all the way back to Lynn Dawson if you want to say somebody getting something done. And that's the quarterback that won it for us, but that my dad got to watch him do it. And so I got to watch Patrick Mahomes do it. And then again.
Did you watch the new Heights podcast yesterday with Taylor Swift?
Oh my gosh, it was fantastic, and I loved it. It was so fun.
I haven't even talked to Nick because I'm reading this book now. But
go watch it. There was like 1 million people watching it when we were watching it.
It's on my
but we were absolutely watching it.
Yeah,
it was fun. It was a blast. I will say this: nobody is a better hype person than Jason Kelce. That man can hype. That man could hype a dead animal back to life. He is that good. Oh man!
I got turned off by New Heights. I was watching a clip, and they were listing like different football players and teams based on Harry Potter houses, like which one would be Ravenclaw, which one would be Gryffindor, and then they said, "What about the Cowboys?" And of course, him being with the Eagles his whole career, he's like, "Oh, Slytherin, absolutely! Everyone in Cowboys is Slytherin." Jerry Jones, Dak Prescott. I'm like, oh, it kills me. So anyway, I'm boycotting New Heights right now.
He's offended. He's offended.
So pick up. Sorry, Kansas City Chiefs fan, born and raised.
Kansas City Chiefs fan. I have served in my life as a pastor in a couple of places. Currently serving as a pastor at the Gathering. One of the children's pastor. I serve alongside my wife, who Heather. I met her in college. She's an amazing woman. She's absolutely my better half. When you meet her, you'll find that out. I talk more than she does, but she's definitely the better half. But we have 2 great kids, and yeah, we came out here kind of in a double dream. Definitely wanted to see the Gathering flourish. Came out to be a part of that, and then also I really love to cook, so came out here trying to build a food truck, and we are almost a year into that process, and almost have the truck. Not yet though. So.
And I know JD and Heather because we went to college together. Heather was actually one of Monica's bridesmaids in our wedding, and JD, I think you ran sound, and you were our DJ for the wedding, and so we go way back. And so never would I have dreamed that we'd be back doing ministry together after 15 years. Not because you just don't expect to do ministry that people go to college with. Everyone scatters, and so it's been a sweet season getting to do ministry with you all. So thanks for jumping in, man. Really, really appreciate it. I love JD's heart. Him and Heather both have just this wonderful heart to serve and just do whatever's needed. Hey, we're going to jump in and help whatever we can do to help. And that's been such a gift in the early days of our church plant. So, hey, we are in a series this month on the podcast on what does it look like to share your faith. Like, what does it look like? Like, there's stuff that you love, and this is a natural thing for humans to do. Like, if you love the carnivore diet, or if you love the Chiefs, or if you love Taylor Swift, or if you love ramen at Namba, which is what I'm having lunch at today, which I cannot wait. I'm so excited. You want to share the things you love with people that you love. And you're like, guys, there's this thing I discovered, whether it's whatever it is, I want to talk to you about it. But then when it comes to your faith, there is this hesitancy. There's this meekness, this shyness that comes about of like saying, I'm all in on Jesus. I'm all in on the church. He's changing my life. But it feels awkward, or I feel pushy, or I feel a little hesitant to share that with the people that I know that don't love Jesus. Even though I love them and they love me, that topic for some reason can be hard. And so we've done some teaching on like bless rhythms and how do you begin with prayer, listen, eat, serve, and share a couple of episodes ago. I interviewed my wife, Monica, and we were able to talk about some like real ways to do this naturally. But today I want to just open up to Lindsay and JD. Like, what questions do you all have? What questions, if you think people are out there listening to this, what questions do you think they would want to ask a pastor or ask me about what it looks like to actually share your faith? And so, Lindsay, you can kick us off. What's one of the questions that you have for us? Maybe to start off with.
So, if you were sharing your faith personally, and you have to relate it to a coffee flavor, how would you describe it? Bold, sweet, strong, or decaf?
That's a great question, man. A coffee flavor. If I was sharing my faith now,
bold, sweet,
what were
strong,
the options?
or decaf?
Bold, sweet, strong, or decaf. I think I would say strong.
I was going to tell you that you were bold or strong myself. So okay, go with your answer.
Yeah. I think I would say I'm like probably in a. We've been doing seasons in our sermon series at church. Like, what season are you in? And I think I'm probably like in a fall or spring. I don't think I'm in a winter right now, but either I'm getting ready to head into a rough season or I'm coming out of one. I don't really know yet. But I think, so it's not sweet, it's not like, man, me and Jesus are skipping like, Dorothy and the Tin Man to Emerald City. Like that's not how I feel right now. But I do have a strong, I think, strong convictions, deep convictions, and a strong faith that I think isn't like bold in your face. That's why I didn't choose bold. But I think I've learned how my strong faith just kind of ekes out naturally in what I do and with my friends. And so, I don't know. That's what I would say. That's a great question. What would you all choose?
JD?
I sweet. I feel like mine would go sweet. Like, I'm an encourager by nature. I'm always trying to draw people back to the goodness of God. So I feel like good. Sweet is where I'm going. Plus, anything I drink coffee-wise has to have at least 4 cups of sugar in it for me to drink
I'm personally drinking black coffee, and I don't want to spill my drink, but I like all my coffee black. I don't like any sweetness in my coffee. But I would say I'm probably in that sweet category too, where I'm at in my faith journey personally. I think that I'm probably in that sweet stage.
That's awesome. I love to hear that. That's a great question. Where'd you get that? Did you just come up with that question?
All right.
On your own?
Good one, Lindsay. I was like, none of mine are nearly that fun.
I think that's my really fun one.
Do you have another? You have another fun one, or is that the only fun one?
Yeah, if you have another fun one, throw it.
What do you think Jesus' social media page would look like today if you had a social media page?
Oh, this is a great question.
Have you ever thought about this?
I think I think no, I've not. Not once, but this is a great question. For number one, I wonder if he would have one. I think there would be some I think I would want to kind of dig into that a bit more. What his would look like. If he had one, he might. I think he would have one because that's where people are, and he goes where people are, and he wants to have a presence there. I think you're going to see not him in a lot of pictures. So if you have like a lot of selfies, on Instagram or whatever, like Jesus is not going to be, I think in a selfie, Jesus might be like one of the disciples might be running his page. And I think you're going to see pictures with him and a lot of random people, especially people who are in poverty. Jesus hung out with the least of these, the hurting, the helpless, the sick. And so that's why I don't think you'd be getting selfies with
Do you
them.
catch
Like,
Jesus in a lot of ussies?
Ussies? not
Yeah,
selfies, but
like people
ussies.
coming in and
Hey, let's all take a picture
shots with
together.
Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that it would look like that. I think there'd be something that he would be doing that would be elevating people on his page that feel lower than. It's like it would be like beautiful shots of people giving them dignity by the pictures they're taking and not degrading them somehow. I think we can.
Yeah, I could totally see
go ahead,
that.
JD.
I was going to say I could see it as an Instagram account with photography, but intentionally focused on porn, like showing the dignity of people who most people would view as broken.
Kind of how I pick.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. The social media element, the social element, I don't think Jesus would have much use for that. I don't think he ever cared about having a platform like that.
Yeah, it wouldn't be platform oriented.
No, but certainly I think visually something like Instagram where the pictures are rooted in capturing the dignity of people who wouldn't be considered dignified.
That's good. That's a great question. I think he might be on X and just sharing like and just sharing wisdom. Just dropping just like truth bombs.
Just drop it, just all those little nuggets of Proverbs.
You're just like, oh, who's this Jesus guy, and where did that come from?
No blue check mark though. No blue check mark.
No blue check.
Jesus would not have a blue check mark.
I don't even know what that is, but
I picture more like Instagram.
I know I'm terrible.
Instagram, like picture type. I don't picture like Facebook. I don't picture anything like that. I just picture Instagram.
Is he doing TikTok dances? That's the question. Yes.
The disciples certainly are, because they're trying to vie for who's got
what's
the
the clap song the kids do? Church.
The Forrest Frank.
Clap. Yeah.
The church clap. The church clap.
Oh, the church clap. Jesus,
he would
he's throwing down some
absolutely
church
be joining
clap.
the kids and doing the dances. I just don't know that he is filming them, but you'll see him on the videos with the kids for sure.
That's hilarious. Okay, JD, what's your question, man?
Oh man, I'm gonna hit you with one just because I think it at least lands in the funnier side of things. Do I have to share my faith with everybody, even the crazy person who lives next door?
That's a great question. I think the even the person question takes me to the Good Samaritan, right?
Okay.
And so like that story comes out of a question, and I'm going somewhere with this, that Jesus asks, or teacher of the law asks Jesus, what's the greatest commandment? And he says, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. And the teacher of the law asks a follow-up question, who is my neighbor? Right? And in that moment, the teacher of the law is asking Jesus to define, I always call it the neighbor circle, right? Like who fits into that circle that is neighbor, and whoever fits into that circle is who I have to love. That also, if he can get Jesus to define neighbor, then he has a non-neighbor circle that's bigger than the neighbor circle of people he doesn't have to love, right? And that's the even that person question. It's, do I have to love even that crazy person next door? Do I have to love the homeless? Do I have to love the rich? Do I have to love the Democrats? Do I have to love Republicans? Black, white, all the different ways in which we try to say my love is only for these people, not those people. And Jesus tells a story that doesn't answer the question because he doesn't like it. Okay, he tells the story of the Good Samaritan. And if he would have liked the question, he would have said, a man was going down the road and there were 3 people that were left on the side of the road for dead. This person he showed love and these 2 he didn't, because that was his neighbor in the neighbor circle. These 2 weren't in the neighbor circle. But that's not the story he tells. One person is going down the road and they get beaten up, left on the side of the road. 3 people come by them. 2 don't help him, 1 does. And then Jesus flips it. He says, who was a neighbor to the man in need? He goes, the man had pity on him. Go and do likewise, saying, you be neighborly to everyone who needs a neighbor. And so all that story to say, if you got a crazy person living next door to you, they are your neighbor, like literally, but also because of how Jesus defines neighbor, you are to be a neighbor to those who are in need. And so 100% yes. Now, figuring out how to do that with wisdom and grace and truth, that's why he gives you the Holy Spirit. But yeah, I would say sharing your faith is for everyone who needs you to share your faith to them.
I love it.
Solid.
So that, yeah, that's a great
All
question.
right. Who first told you about Jesus, and what do you think your life would be like if they hadn't?
Oh man. I think so. It would definitely have been my parents. My parents raised me in the faith. My earliest memories of going to bed was my dad tucking me in at night and us him telling me Bible stories and him talking about Jesus and having me memorize verses like the Psalm 23 and the Lord's Prayer, the Beatitudes. And I just grew up with my parents talking about Jesus. We always prayed before every meal. I mean, that's just kind of my family. And I always like to say I was so messed up that God needed to save a whole lot of people in order to save me. Like he saved my mom, my dad, my like we have Christians all over, and that legacy is such a grace that's what I was born into and given. I can't imagine not having Jesus. And what my life would look like. Yeah, it would be in a different family. Like I would have been born. I would have different parents. I'd have different siblings and grandparents. I would be obsessed with self promotion. I would be trying to have a platform, followers, run for public office, become famous. I mean, my goal is that would have been my drive. Would have been to be a public figure, and I would be obsessed with that. And I would not treat women very well. I think I would objectify women in a way that would be harmful to them, but pleasurable to me. And I think those are some of the demons that I wrestle with, and God has redeemed a lot of those things. But I think that would definitely be who I am. Just a straight up ass.
Deep cut. Nice.
If I could be as crass as saying that, yeah. Good question.
Deep cut.
JD?
Answer the question,
gosh.
JD. You don't get to ask a question. Now you have to answer questions too.
I can do that. Okay.
Yeah. Who would you be?
I can do that.
Who introduced you?
Man. I feel like I've got a pretty solid idea of who I would be. I don't know that it would be the public platform as much for me, but certainly I would have chased a career, one that financially would have been way more higher paying. No offense to ministry. But one that would have challenged my brain, I think, more analytically and mathematically. Aerospace engineering was kind of what I'd set my heart on doing before I had stepped into ministry. I came to know Jesus when I was 16 in high school. It was my tail end of my sophomore year, going into my junior year. And really, it wasn't until my senior year that I even considered that I might do something other than aerospace engineering. That was kind of what, since like third grade, I had committed in my head to doing.
Just tell people like you gave up some significant things in order to go to ministry.
Yeah. So when I started, so my story goes, I was the nerdy kid in school who was like 3 grades ahead in all my math classes. Like they were shipping me to the middle school to do math classes while I was still in like 4th grade, because none of the school had the resources to keep me at the level that I was engaging with. And I was, as an ADHD kid, if I wasn't properly engaged, I was a terror. I need you to know, I couldn't shut my mouth, and I was a distraction. Like I wasn't mean, I wasn't a bad kid, but I was a yapper. Okay.
Yeah,
I would not shut up. And I have friends to this day that still tell horror stories of me not talking while they're trying to do a test, or of me talking to them while they're trying to do a test and them having to tell me to shut up. But I so math was always something that was very near and dear to me. And I think sometime in middle school, I joined the Duke TIP program, which is basically just I go in for testing once a year, math testing, to just show them what I've learned and how I've grown in the development. And basically, that they were just going to keep an eye on me. So it was optional testing, but they said, hey, if you just keep doing this, you got a chance at going to Duke later on. Well, as things would play out, I kept doing it. Also, on the athletics side, our high school got really good when I got there. We'd had a coach
In
that had been
football.
building a program. In football.
Yeah.
We'd had a coach that had been building a program for a few years. My brother had played like for the first year for him. By the time I had gotten there, we'd gotten pretty good. And so my sophomore year, we made it to state undefeated and lost. And then junior and senior year, we made it to state and won. Not
Both
undefeated,
years.
but basically I finished my high school career with a record of 34-3 in football. And we won two state championships, but attended 3.
And so that was like, at that point, don't they offer you scholarships?
Yeah. So at this point, I had received a partial athletic and a partial academic scholarship. So basically, combined together, it would be enough to fund a scholarship to Duke.
And then you chose.
That was where I chose
to go to Ozark.
I'd done verbal, everything like that. And then Ozark Christian College is where I ultimately chose to go because I had a youth pastor take us on a tour, and I was all for any opportunity to dip out of school when I didn't have to be there. And so for credit, I was able to go tour colleges. And so we did. And my youth pastor pulled me to the side at one of the colleges and said, hey, have you ever considered that God might have something more for you? And he said, just pray on that. And I did. And it was like 4 months of prayer before ultimately I decided that God was calling me into ministry. And so I turned down my scholarships to Duke and applied to Ozark Christian College and went to Ozark Christian College.
I just love that story. Because you would be a different person.
Oh my God, radically different. Because one of the things I was telling Cy the other day is I went to Ozark, and Ozark is a wild campus in how different it is. Not like as in tons of parties and stuff like that. It's far from that. But it was they at the time they didn't offer any math classes, and I'm a kid, so I go in, I'm trying to have a humble spirit. And so like I certainly was learning a ton of subjects and things that I had no skills in. So it very much so was a training time for me. But yeah, it was very different. So, cool. So I would say very different. I too think I'm like you, Cy, in that the objectification of women, like had I not grown up with Jesus in maturity, and I don't mean like in my home. I mean like at 16, who I was at 16 is not a healthy person. Who I am today through Jesus is healthier because of that. And the way I view women, the way I treat women is much healthier because of that.
What about you, Linz?
I would say, I grew up going to church. I mean, I wasn't like super involved until I got to junior high and high school. I started in youth group and things like that. And then I feel like over time, I just kind of lost my way. And then in the last like year and a half, found my way back and met these wonderful people. And, I don't physically work in ministry. I don't get paid to work in ministry, but I do volunteer at the gathering every week and get to be part of it. I don't know. I think that if I didn't have Jesus in my life, that I don't know that I would be in like a specific place. I don't want to say like I would use men or anything like that because I have no idea. But I think that I would be in a very dark place in my life. So I've been in that dark place and I've come out of that dark place.
I love that. And I know that you say you're not paid in ministry, but you do so much ministry for our church and serve in so many ways. And we are so blessed by you. So thank you. Good question. That was awesome. How about you, JD? Next one.
Oh, man. Okay. Let's see. This one, I'll kind of combine a couple of them. It kind of had to do with when you shared your story. You mentioned getting an opportunity to memorize a lot of Bible verses. I really didn't have that opportunity growing up. Bible college was the place where they forced us to memorize a lot of stuff. And I'll be honest with you, I memorized it for the test, and then I don't think it stuck much.
Forgot it. Yeah.
So, what would you say to someone that says, "What if I don't have a bunch of the Bible memorized? How do I know what to say?"
Oh, that's a great question. You don't have to have the Bible memorized to share your faith. It's great. It helps for sure. Because there's so much I have done over the years that I've memorized the Bible in Bible verses. Growing up in church, I did this thing called Bible Bowl for 3 years. This is rich Sci-Huffer history here for where you memorize Bible books
deep into the nerd.
That's
lore.
right. You memorize literally books of the Bible, word for word, and then you, like academic team, you get quizzed and you buzz in and you
This is
quote
why you're
verses.
so good at this. Like you,
And I did this.
Like you just pull,
I did this.
you just pull Bible verses out of nowhere all the time.
They just give you the reference and you quote it?
No, they ask questions. It's a whole thing. I don't want to get to it. There's toss-up questions and bonuses.
Okay.
And
I was just like, y'all
but you have to
memorized all that stuff. Oh
but no, you have to have the verses memorized. They give you a keyword, like one word that's used in the text that year, and if you hear that, you buzz in, and you have to quote that verse, the beginning to the end of the verse. It was, and that's how you. Sometimes, did
y'all have a certain?
We're getting way off topic. I did Bible Bowl.
Sorry.
And no, you're fine. Yeah. And seriously, 3 years of that, we memorized half the New Testament. And so that was, and I got a full ride to Ozark Christian College because of all the tournaments we won. Like I didn't pay a cent in tuition at Ozark. They don't do that anymore. No, me and David Heffern run that. We took total advantage of that at Ozark. But anyway, that helps because there are times when you're talking to someone and God just brings a verse that you've put in your heart and he just brings it up to share with someone else. But you don't have to have it memorized. It's literally reading the Bible every day. I promise you, if you read a chapter a day, every day from the Bible, you'll be in a conversation and something will come up and you'll be like, that reminds me of this thing I read earlier. Jesus said something like this. You don't have to be able to quote it, right? But putting God's word in your heart and having it around you, you start sharing stories about Jesus that you heard. Well, Jesus told the story I read today about him healing this guy, and he asked him a question, do you want to get well? I mean, that really makes me think of this right now, because when you have input going in, it's just naturally for it to come out in natural ways, right? And if you make that just a part of who you are, if people know that, like today I was texting a friend, and he knows I pray for him on my prayer walk each day. He does not follow Jesus. And I asked about something in his life that was going on. He told me that the thing that I've been praying about happened. And I said, and I just said, dude, that's an answered prayer for me. That's natural for us because in our relationship, he knows for me, a big part of my life is exercising my faith, is praying for him. And I'm not pushing that on him. I'm just sharing, I prayed and God answered that prayer for me. And it was about you. And that's natural for us. It's not awkward for me to do that with him because it's just all out in the open. I think you could do that with prayer. You don't have to even know Bible stories or verses. You can be just an avid prayer. Hey, I prayed for you today. Hey, how can I pray for you? And I think when you ask that question, you say, hey, part of my faith is praying for the people I love and care about. I love you and care about you. How can I pray for you? If you frame things that way, 99% of the time, the person that does not know Jesus, they will be grateful and they'll respect you because that's your faith. And there is an air of tolerance in our culture enough for say, as long as they don't push their faith on me, I'm fine with not saying you can't practice your faith, right? And so I think those are some things to do that isn't Bible memory or memorization. The last thing I would say is the best thing to do out of everything, I think, is just share your story of how Jesus is changing your life. That's what defeats the enemy in Revelation 12 is the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony, not the word of our Bible memorization, not the word of our sermons we deliver. It's our testimony of saying, I was like this before Jesus, and now Jesus has made me like this. Because no one can argue with that. Like no one can argue with, they can argue with, the ontological argument about for the existence of God. Like they can argue about that.
Nerd.
They can't argue about your testimony. And so I would say, if you major on anything, learn how to share your testimony about how Jesus changed you in 30 seconds. That's the best thing to do, to share your faith, and then become a person that prays for people.
I think just talking about it for me, dude. Like I never like, I don't want to say I didn't feel comfortable talking about Jesus. I know, Sai, you know this. My dad, for example, my dad doesn't listen to these podcasts, so I'm not worried. But my dad, for example, so he's like super strong faith. Like, you know, you go to a restaurant and he's like preaching to the server, telling about how you should follow Jesus. And his pool cleaner guy, he came over to his house and started cleaning his pool. And my dad was out there asking if he was a Christian and if he goes to church and if he follows Jesus. And like, sometimes it's just like, whoa. And sometimes those people get scared off. Like, I don't think that they like, sometimes it's kind of scary to people who don't follow. But me personally, like, I don't know. I feel like I've had a lot more conversations about Jesus in my life, like with friends, and maybe I'm just hanging out with people who are followers, more people now than I used to that are followers. And so Jesus is part of my like everyday conversation with those friends. Maybe it's me bringing it up more. I don't know. But I just feel like having everyday conversations that involve faith, I think have really like helped me along the way.
Absolutely. And I think when he becomes part of your everyday life, it's natural. Like you're reading the Bible regularly, you're going to church, you heard a sermon, you read a verse, you know, you're in a small group and you have a cool discussion. Those are life events that come up naturally in conversations because that happened naturally to you that week, you know, versus like share your faith and all you do is you watch a service, for an hour on Sunday at your home. And that's how you exercise your faith. Yeah, sharing your faith is going to feel real awkward. If that's the 1 hour or the 30 minutes you're giving, you know, you're spending time with Jesus.
I wonder if it might be better for some to view it in the concept of just not hiding your faith.
That's good, dude. Flesh that out more.
Well, I think there's because one of my next questions was going to be to the tune of, if the work or play environment, recreation environment isn't pro faith, what can I do? You know, I wonder if many people feel like, I'm thinking teachers, you know, Heather's mom was a teacher for years. I know plenty of teachers that feel that pressure to not directly share their faith, because there's guidelines there. They have to protect their job, and yet not being afraid to share your faith in specific ways. I guess to me, I think a lot of people in their desire to tolerate, if you will, we've pulled back measures of ourselves. And I wonder if one of the best ways to view this would be just to say, stop pulling back that measure of your faith.
Yeah.
Don't hold it.
I'm kind of in agreement with you there. I feel like, I don't mean this, like how I said this, I described this to Sai is, and again, maybe it's because the people I surround myself with today than I did 2 years ago. Not saying any of my friends from 2 years ago were bad or anything like that. But like, I feel like, don't take this the wrong way, but I feel like to me in my life, church is cool now. Going to church and worshiping Jesus is cool. Not that it wasn't cool, but I like now, like I love being able to be like, oh yeah, I went to church today. Or like, not because I'm like, I think it's more.
Yeah, it's not a holier than thou mindset. It's this literally was the best part of my week, and I looked forward to it, and it checked all the boxes, and I came home with a high, and I feel closer to Jesus, and I feel closer to my brothers and sisters in Christ. I mean, that's the phrasing we use, that we walk with. I mean, that's what church does.
Like, I just want to like share to everybody, oh, I went to church today. And again, it's not because I'm like, oh, look at me, like I'm like a saint because I went to church today. That's not how I mean it. It's just because I truly like feel like you leave church and you're just feeling like, you know, you go every Sunday, and every Sunday the message somehow relates to where I'm at in my life. And like,
that's because Sai's secretly like tapping it. Like Sai's prayer life is really just him like sniping with God and figuring out exactly where he's got to.
Know where you're at.
Yeah, bro. It's he's got a direct connect with God, and he's tapping
I
in
mean,
and hacking the system.
and I
That's
mean,
You
right.
I
guys,
know
He's got
Sai
cheat
and I've
codes
talked
on.
about that, but like, yeah, like you just like hit that spot like every time. And we talked about that like, I don't know, a while back. Like you had this sermon planned for so long, and then you come into church that Sunday morning and it's like exactly what you need to hear. So I don't know. To me, like, I think before, like, not that I would be afraid to tell people I went to church because I was embarrassed to tell people I went to church. It just wasn't like a topic that I would brought up in front of people. But now I love to be able to, like, oh yeah, I'm in a Bible study. Like I love to share that part of my life. So
that's awesome. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Last question.
oh, is it me? Oh, okay.
Lindsay.
All right.
Yeah, go for it.
What do you think? Well, okay, hold on. Let me see. I'm going to combine two questions together. How can your personal story make the gospel more relatable to others, and how can sharing your faith bring hope to the healing process for others? It's kind of like
Cool.
it's kind of two questions merged together.
Mhm. Yeah, I always think that every if you don't know, like, how do I know I'm different, I just don't know how. Like, I don't know how to explain it yet in words. I would always give people the filter of these three base needs everyone's looking for, and the gospel solves. Okay, identity, belonging, and purpose. I think those three, most every testimony can major or minor or encompass those three base human desires. To know who I am.
I was going to say,
Yeah,
flesh those out like
So
as an example.
identity
Yeah.
is knowing who I am. My personal worth, my value, who I am as a person is it based on what I do, what I accomplish, what I experience, how much money I have, how many achievements I have, my career, or is it based on solely being a child of God? Like, identity is huge. Okay. Is it belonging? Like, I want to fit in. I want to be popular. I want to be part of the in crowd, not the out crowd. I feel alone. I feel isolated. Like, belonging is, no, you belong to a community of people, a family of God that accepts everyone, no matter their background or anything, based on the fact that we all acknowledge we're a sinner in need of a savior. Like, that's the belonging piece. And then the purpose is like, why am I here? Why do I exist? What's my purpose in life? And it's to be a blessing. It's to be a blessing to those around you. And that you only do that by producing the fruit of the Spirit, fighting for justice, creating beauty in your relationships, all that kind of stuff. And so those three things, I would say, if you are having a hard time understanding, like, how do I share my story, my faith? How has the gospel truly changed me? Try to maybe think along one of those three things. Is it my identity that's changed? And, behavior always comes from identity. Like your behaviors change because your identity changes. And so that's you have to back up, right? It's like, I'm struggling with this. Well, my identity is in, finding pleasure, or that's my God. Is it belonging? Is it purpose? And then whatever that is, then understand your story based on that. I was like this. I didn't have a purpose. Yeah. And now God has given me a why, like that, or I was alone and God's given me a family, or, man, my worth was based solely on what I did. And at the gathering, our three values actually center around those three base needs. Like, your past does not define you. It's centered around the need of identity. Like that, you're not your identity. Your past is not your identity. Your present shouldn't isolate you. It's centered around the need of belonging. That you have a community, a family that loves you through your highs and lows of life. Your future will surprise you. It's centered around the mission of the church, right? That gives you purpose. Like, I have a role to play in God's kingdom. There's no bench warmers in the kingdom of God. We all have gifts and passions and stories that God wants to use. So I would encourage people, with your story, with the gospel, try to start with that why question, one of those three base human needs, and then understand how Jesus has changed that for you. So those are great questions. Guys, thank you so much for bringing those today. And everybody, thanks for joining us on another episode of Cy Huffer and Friends. If you are enjoying the content, if you want to follow along, you can do that on our Instagram account at Cy Huffer and Friends. You can also subscribe on our YouTube channel. or on Apple or Spotify podcasts. And as always, remember this, you were made for more. So don't settle for anything less. Have a great day.